Crypto tips. How are you guys today? Hey, Kent here. Been a quick minute. I was off to Miami. Got to enjoy the Bitcoin 2021 conference. I thought I'd give you guys a quick couple of points I haven't seen many people sharing. So I was there representing SAS Mining. That's the Bitcoin mining company that I'm working for. And we were raising capital and meeting lots of people and getting to see amazing talks at the conference. And there were a couple points that I made. I come from solar energy background. That was my previous career. And, solar was a disruptive technology as well in the early 2000s when I first started with it. But, by around 2010 or so, all the sort of crazies and anarchists and, life of the party sort of folks that had pushed the solar industry forward, they really slid to the background. They did great work initially, but suits eventually came in, and with their capital, they sort of took over the industry. That's for good and bad. Solar's continued to grow and thrive and been a successful industry. But coming to the Bitcoin 2021 conference, there's a lot of similarities with Bitcoin being a disruptive technology. A lot of the same sort of people are there and participate in helping to grow the movement, whether they're the pot smoking hippies or the crypto anarchists or the folks that just want to build a better future, the dreamers of the world. There's quite a crossover, but one of the things that I took away that was quite different, I don't think the suits are going to wind up taking over in Bitcoin. And the reason for that is that Bitcoiners, the longer that they've been holding Bitcoin, the closer they get to being post-economic. It's a new term that I learned and I've been enjoying. But post-economic meaning, people that are just past really needing to care too much about money. They've got things sorted in their life. And if Bitcoin fulfills its, North Star vision, which is to become $100 to $300 trillion asset, taking on the store of value for the entire planet, then really those Bitcoiners are just going to grow in number that are post-economic. I heard an astounding fact, and I haven't looked it up, but it feels about accurate, which is that if by the time Bitcoin gets to $200,000, which many of us in the space believe is pretty much inevitable, by the time Bitcoin gets to $200,000, the number of billionaires on the planet will be dominated by Bitcoiners. Just think about that for a minute. It'd be the biggest wealth transfer in human history and a huge new powerful class of people, all done without a single shot fired. That's really radical. But if you think about it, these folks, when they don't have anything to worry about, are just themselves. And that's what I saw at the conference is a lot of folks that were just being themselves, and that was fun. I enjoy interacting with people that have that level of freedom. And then, shifting gears to kind of the second point that I took away from the conference, being in the Bitcoin mining space and talking to investors as we've been raising capital for SAS Mining, we've been learning a lot, and just the ESG question just keeps coming up over and over again. And I come from the solar industry. I've got a lot of ESG sort of ethos built into my DNA. It's just kind of what I think is right for how we should be treating the planet. But the way this is working right now, it took me until the third day of the conference. We were there at Whale Day pitching in front of Kevin OLeary and Tim Draper and being judged. The CEO of SAS Mining was, and I was helping him, coach him on the pitch he was given. He gave a fantastic presentation, but it all went sideways when Kevin OLeary, one of the judges, started pushing an ESG angle to his line of questioning to the CEO, Will, of SAS Mining. And it took me a while in the conference to put the pieces together, but Kevin OLeary also oversaw a Bitcoin mining panel that I'm sure is publicly available. You could look it up and watch. But it got me to thinking, he and the CEO of BlackRock, who I've forgotten his name at the moment, but they were really the first people I heard that brought up ESG. And as Kevin OLeary was talking at that Bitcoin Mining Council, I realized, he was saying how he represents this institutional capital and these sovereign wealth funds, and they have these ESG mandates, and how does Bitcoin clean up its act and become more ESG friendly, all this. And what I realized as he's talking about it is this capital has ESG mandates, and Kevin OLeary studied the numbers for the Bitcoin mining space. He tried to make an investment actually, and it went sideways based on change in regulation in the state of New York. But so he's seen these numbers, and he sees all the capital that would like to come into the space, but it's under this ESG mandate, and because they don't have transparency and visibility into Bitcoin, they can't follow their mandate. And so guys like Kevin OLeary and the CEO of BlackRock, they're not making their cut on these transactions. And so when it's all said and done, I don't know if really that's his intention behind it, but the very first time I heard ESG mentioned at all as being an issue with Bitcoin mining was from Kevin OLeary. And so I think what I'm trying to say is this whole ESG mandate that's being pushed through became obvious to me at the crypto conference, that is being driven by capital that actually wants to invest in the Bitcoin mining space but can't because of this ESG mandate. And from my standpoint, I don't think we really need to go through and make all the energy that Bitcoin is using transparent. For me, if I look at the cost of renewables, they compete every bit as well as fossil fuels. It's why they're being adopted across the globe right now. So just let the market do its thing, and it's going to wind up being renewable driven anyway. And the other part of the ESG mandate, and I'm going on a bit of a rant here now, but the other part of the ESG mandate is, there's 3 letters in ESG: environmental, social, and governance. And when I look at it, everyone's talking about the environmental, and nobody's talking about the social or the governance side. And I know specifically, like the projects that we're developing at SAS Mining, they're going to help out the social side immensely. It's quite simple, actually. The facilities that we're developing have underutilized natural gas at power plants. We're going to help utilize that, and so what you wind up having is the fixed cost of that power facility being spread over more units of consumption. And what that means is that the end ratepayer is able to see a reduction in their electric bills. Well, if you reduce the end ratepayer's electric bills, then they've got a little bit more cash in their pocket. And especially if you look at people on the low income side of things, they pay more as a percentage of their monthly income than the more wealthy people do towards energy. And so if you look at it, if we reduce energy costs, it goes directly towards benefiting those that need the benefit the most. So anyway, I'm a little dismayed by the whole ESG talk, and I was glad to get some more insight by being there at the conference and understanding where exactly it's coming from, and just wanted to encourage everybody here to think a little bit more deeply about it as well, and not just get caught up in the hype of what Elon or Kevin OLeary or anybody else is saying about ESG. And I think very fortunately, the president of El Salvador, making Bitcoin legal tender, and then choosing to mine it with volcanic energy, has done a great job of sort of throwing that whole conversation out the window, because it's pretty hard to argue if you're taking energy that's coming out of the earth and putting it towards Bitcoin mining directly from geothermal energy, volcanic energy, that's anything but clean. So anyway, a couple of points there, just how I see the Bitcoin industry evolving and keeping true to its roots because of the wealthy Bitcoiners in the space, and how I see ESG really just being driven by this capital that has mandates and can't invest but just wants to. So if I were to say anything about that capital, I'd call it jealous capital, is what it seems like. So anyway, crypto tips, thanks so much. You like what you're hearing here, feel free to sign up for my newsletter. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I think the folks that are reading it are enjoying it, and I'll catch up with you guys next time. Thank you.